Yes.
Okay, we're going to call to order the meeting for February 16th. Madam Clerk, pledge please.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Councilman Asbill.
Present.
Councilman Buddy.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain.
Present.
Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Ricks.
Present.
Mayor Baudier.
Present.
Police Chief Laprie is absent, but we have Assistant Chief Joseph Almarico here.
Present, yes.
Fire Chief St. Cyr is absent. Finance Director Todd Turnion.
Present.
City Attorney Scott Stansberry.
Present.
And myself, Carrie Eustace, Municipal Clerk, present. Mayor's announcements.
Okay, just if you guys are here tonight about Sedgefield, Sedgefield is going to go in a different direction. So we just wanted to let you know, there's a process that we have to work out with those guys, but they will be going in a different direction of what they need to do. So. I was saying that Sedgefield will be going in a different direction. It was a process that we had to go through with those guys, and we're all in the same agreement that however they handle their business has to go into a different direction than what they're already doing. So we're working on right now, figuring out a process, and if anything changes or whatever changes from here on out, the public will be notified before that process begins. So I just want to let everybody know that. Okay, and tonight is a special occasion. It's kind of really special to me as well. I've served with this man for 15 years, and I wanted to give him an award because I think he's very well deserving of that and much, much more. Mr. Edwin Marcello was the maintenance director for the city of Harahan, or worked here in maintenance for the city of Harahan for 26 years. And I think that's incredibly important for the sacrifice that he paid here for this city, his time and dedication. And sometimes I ask a lot of my maintenance department, and he's been there for me every time. And I just want to thank him. I know this council thanks him. But it's important to me, it's personal to me, and it says, in recognition for 26 years of a commitment and dedication into the city of Harahan, and this is the award we got for him.
Yeah. Let me get a picture, man. Speech.
Yeah.
Wait, we got another one.
Thank you.
I'm here. And you.
Oh, yeah. So, as Mr. Edwin goes and lives his better life, without me calling him 24/7, Gary Fleming will be taking over as new maintenance director, and we're excited to have Gary. I know he's excited and up for the challenge, and he's been well groomed and mentored by Mr. Edwin. So, and everything you've done, it's just been incredible. It's been incredible to work with you and your family. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. You got it. Okay, Madam Clerk, approval of the minutes.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on January 19th, 2023.
Okay, can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes? Motion by Councilman Asbill. We'll open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on January 19th, 2023.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Move.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill. We'll open for public hearing. Anyone want to discuss? No one coming. We'll now close public hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Ricks. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk, those minutes are approved.
We have no communications, resolutions. Proposed resolution number 2023-1. The following resolution was offered unanimously by the council of the city of Harahan. A resolution accepting the municipal water pollution prevention environmental audit report for the period of January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022, and to inform the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality that the following actions were taken and additional actions will be taken by the city of Harahan.
Okay, we're now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on proposed resolution number 2023-1, please come to the podium. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
think we're waiting on some more documents from the sewer department or Veolia, one or the other, to supplement this, so I move to defer.
I have a motion by
Second.
Councilman Asbill defer, second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are deferred. Madam Clerk?
Proposed resolution number 2023-2. The following resolution was offered unanimously by the Council of the City of Harahan. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Harahan adopting the 2022 Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire.
Okay, anyone wanting to come to speak on proposed resolution number 2023-2, please come to the podium. No one coming to the podium will close public hearing. We have a motion by Councilman Ricks, second by Councilman Johnson to approve. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are approved, Madam Clerk.
Ordinances for approval. Proposed ordinance number 2022-24. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Craig Johnston. An ordinance adopting the following policies for the City of Harahan, Louisiana, as recommended by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor: bank reconciliations, budgeting, card, contracting, debt service, ethics, payroll, purchasing disbursements, sexual harassment, and travel expense reimbursement.
Okay, we have a motion by, we have proposed ordinance number 2022-24. Anyone coming to speak on that? No one coming forth. Will now close public hearing. Council discussion.
I believe we want to defer this for another month. I know Todd, our finance director, is working on cleaning up some of the verbiage to more clearly reflect that they're Harahan policies. And also, there was some questions about segregation of duties, what we can do and what we can't do. And I understand Todd's going to be working with the mayor on that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Buddy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Ricks. All in favor? 5 yeas, 0 nays. We are deferred. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2023-1. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman, who wants it?
I'll second.
Buddy. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harahan to establish provisions with respect to the commencement time of regular meetings of the City Council.
Okay, we have proposed ordinance number 2023-1 is now open for public hearing. No one coming forth. Will now close public hearing. Council discussion.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm just curious why we're making the move.
Yeah, I am too.
Who authored the order?
So I proposed the ordinance just because I've never heard anybody say that our meetings are too early. Back in 2019, when we were first elected, the original time that I proposed was 6:30. We backed that up to 7 o'clock to accommodate for one of the councilmen. So I just want to throw it out there again for 6:30. I think it's more convenient for the public for 6:30 to have it earlier, especially those with young kids who would like to get home after the meeting, get their kids to bed. So 6:30. I'm not, don't feel strongly one way or another. I just threw it out there as an option. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
One other question. I think by ordinance, we have to end the meetings by midnight.
Yes, sir.
I'm not supposing we ever go to midnight, but should we, if this ordinance is adopted and we start at 6:30, shouldn't we amend the ordinance to say we have to end by 11:30?
We didn't do that last time, but I would say we maximize our time. If we need that extra half hour, I would say we do that so that we don't have to advertise for another day.
I'm pretty flexible. I mean, I'm fine with 6:30, 7, doesn't matter to me. I'd like for it to go to 6:30 if y'all fine with it. I mean, I'm in favor of 6:30 if no one else has a conflict.
That's fine. I'd rather see it stay at 7, but you guys want 6:30, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm fine.
I'm good with it.
Okay, so we have proposed ordinance number 2023-1, proposed by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank
Madam
you.
Clerk? Thank you.
And this goes in effect.
Councilman
next
Asbill,
month?
you do have to call me for the next council meeting and remind me of the change, please. You think I'm kidding, huh?
No, you're not kidding.
Good, thank you.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-2. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman
So, second.
Asbill. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 1852, specifically Section 1, to fix the amount of compensation of the magistrate and judge of the city of Harahan so that fair compensation is incurred and paid as due.
Okay, anyone want to come forth and speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-2, please come to the podium. No one coming forth. Will now close public hearing. Council discussion?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
This is as-built, this is your ordinance.
Well-
Eric, could you amend it and change it from judge to magistrate to judge and prosecutor? We're supposed to do that, we got to amend it.
I thought we did that.
Well, I thought we did it last month too, but it's still on there. So now you need amended
You'll remember.
So
to
we have a-
change the
So-
judge or whatever one you change to the prosecutor.
Yeah, so I move to amend the title of the proposed ordinance to say magistrate and prosecutor rather than magistrate and judge.
So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to change the word magistrate to, to change the word judge to prosecutor.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
We'll open for public hearing. Anyone who wants to discuss? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor on the motion?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. And now we're back on the ordinance as amended.
If there's no discussion, I move the vote as amended.
All in favor?
Yay.
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 5 yeas, 0 nays. As it passes as amended, Madam Clerk.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-3. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
Riggs.
Ricks. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1955 to reduce the authorized amount from the ARPA Fund for Lift Station 8 rehabilitation.
I will open for a public hearing. Anyone want to come speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-3? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion?
This is the first time this has been brought up for discussion. I know there was a meeting with the auditors. I was not at the meeting. I'd like to discuss it with the auditors. So for now, I'll move to defer.
Got it. So we have a motion by Councilman
Well,
Asbill.
before we do that, I'd like to compliment the administration on getting the reimbursement from the Delta Regional Authority.
Yes, sir.
That's $257,000 of money from a third-party source that the citizens of Harahan didn't have to come out of pocket for improvements to our sewer collection system.
Yeah, and another 256,000. So it was 237,005 and another 256,000. One from the
Well,
parish.
yeah, one from the parish. We previously discussed Councilman Bonanno's contribution of
Yes.
his undedicated fund. So we've had, effort by our administration and a really appreciated contribution by Jefferson Parish Councilman Bonanno. But thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. So we have a motion on the floor by deferred by Councilman Asbill, second by
Second.
Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are deferred. Madam Clerk.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-4. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Ricks and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Chatelain. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1959, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023 for the Capital Project Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana for the red building repair.
Okay, so we'll now open public hearing. Anyone want to come speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-4, please come to the podium. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion?
I had asked earlier today for a breakdown of what we were spending this money on, and Councilman Ricks did send it to me, but I haven't had a chance to open up the emails. Councilman Ricks, if you could, if you remember the broad numbers, just walk through, larger categories, and if not, I won't ask you to do it if you don't remember what makes up the 160. Just siding, roofing, whatever.
Yes, sir. So the bulk of the fixing of the Detective Bureau, which is in shambles, it has been remediated of mold upstairs. We've had to replace the floor, the rotten floor, and paint that top to move the Detective Bureau upstairs, while the lower part of the building is also being remediated and gutted from the black mold that they're currently sitting in. So we're trying to do that as rapidly as possible, but also the building is deplorable, both inside and out. We're trying to fix that. A lot of that is the exterior siding that needs to be removed, the rot that needs to be removed, the soffit fascia, gutters, roof needs to be resealed. Those are all the bulk. That's probably going to be in the $100,000 range for those things. And then the additional monies are the interior repairs and wall movements and things like that, the remediation of the air conditions and those things.
And that's one of the things that as I understand it, the plan includes moving the downstairs air conditioning,
Correct, it does.
relocating it. Do you have an estimate for how much that is?
No, I do not, but I will have that before the end of the week.
Okay, and I have a comment on it, it's just a personal comment. This is a building that's going to be utilized by city employees or police department employees.
Yes, sir.
And as I understand it, the movement of the air conditioner is more aesthetics to open the space up.
Well, it's more of a fire exit because there's two entrances on the front. There's a side door and there's a rear door. So you have multiple officers in that thing. The corridor to the back is very narrow. If there was a fire, I believe that it does not meet the fire code as far as an exit space dimension. So if somebody needed to exit from the rear of the building, from the front, for any means, they'd have to have that space opened up.
I mean, that's a good reason. The other question, and I guess the upstairs, the ultimate plan and use, I believe, is emergency operations center.
Right, it is planned to have, so it will house, now, it was not previously used this way, but for an EOC, for the police department, if they needed to get above grade, also housing for officers or city employees who need to be here during a storm. That's why we are looking to pretty much make it a solid structure on the exterior and kind of rehabilitate the entire thing. So it's very much needed for the police department right now and to get these officers in a safe environment.
Yep.
And then after that, it can be utilized for other things.
Two
like
more
the
two
emergency-
more questions quickly.
Yes,
And
sir.
I appreciate all your comments.
Anytime.
On the exterior, you're going with hardy board to more stormproof the building and to replace the siding that's there. What are your thoughts on windows? Are you going with standard windows with shutters, or are you talking about going with stormproof windows?
No, the windows, I don't think are terrible, so we elected not to put that in this go-around.
Okay.
And no, we also opted not to do hardy board because the lower part of the building, as we've inspected, it is a cinder block wall. So instead of doing hardy board, we
Can't hear
have...
y'all. We can't hear y'all back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Instead of doing the hardy board, we're going to use a cement board at the top and then stucco the entire building to make it a 100-year proof type thing.
And one more question for the police department. About how many people will be utilizing that building or working there? It's a general question, I'm just curious.
Well, I can't
I
really
can.
get into too much of that. It's the detective bureau, so can't really speak too much to that.
All
In
right.
private, I could.
But let
That's
me
fair enough. Yeah, I was just curious.
let me just say this on Joe's behalf, if you don't mind. It is also going to be utilized as a facility training room, which we desperately need. And when they do facility training, there will be multiple officers in the building.
I was just curious. I'll talk with Joe a little bit more about it, and the chief.
We can take a break.
Thank you for the information. No need for a break right now. We'll do it later, Joe. I appreciate the input, and thanks, Mike.
Take a break.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And Councilman Doty, I do want to let you know that the flooring that we got, the flooring was donated by Cornerstone Flooring.
Yep.
So we definitely want to thank him. The maintenance department's in there doing as much work as they possibly can and trying to get it painted, cleaned up. just to make it presentable and make sure that it's a safe environment. So we're trying to do as much in-house as possible.
I know that.
Just things are expensive.
I do have one more comment, and I'm glad you spoke, Mayor, so I remembered it. I'm assuming we're just moving money within the capital project fund, capital fund, and allocating it to this purpose. But I haven't had a chance to talk with Todd about this, but I looked at the capital fund analysis Todd gave me, and I don't think there's any money available to spend in that fund. There's $1 million+ quote, balance. But of that $1 million+ balance is $760,000, which has been loaned to the sewer fund. And so it's a piece of paper or a journal entry. And we also have in that category, in that line, is $800,000 of insurance proceeds. Now, what the council has decided that insurance proceeds go to the departments for which the monies were paid. So they're not available. That's $800,000 for insurance proceeds and $700-something thousand, which is the sum of the balance, maybe more than the sum of the balance. So there's no money there. There's none that can be spent on this. So I propose the fix, we use ARPA funds. Is there anyone know if there's a prohibition on using ARPA funds? Is that a concern?
Over here, Tom.
Over there.
Put the rails in for me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Buddy, for those comments. So just a couple thoughts. So one is the ARPA, I think the ARPA funds was one of the questions.
Yes, sir.
And there's no restrictions on using ARPA funds for really anything. And I can send that out to the council and to the mayor. Basically, any, within the ARPA guidance, any municipality that received less than $10 million, which is the city of Harahan and many other smaller municipalities across the country, there's a provision within the ARPA guidance that basically permits you to use it for any public purpose. And so, yes, the ARPA funds could be used for that. The one caveat I would add is when we met with the auditors and had some conversations with them, and just in reading some of the guidance, it's mentioned several times that the city should have a plan and how to use the ARPA so that it's not, 100,000 here, 300,000 there. So that's just something for the mayor and the council and the city to.
Haven't we already used ARPA funds without a plan?
One.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
used one.
Okay. I mean, we,
Yes.
Okay.
And there's some discussion of trying to reverse that perhaps, but yes.
so my earlier comment
Lift
stands.
Station 8.
There is no money available. There's no
So-
cash money available in the capital fund
Well,
for this.
That's up to judgment. Okay. What I would say, Mr. Buddy, is in the capital project fund, there's $2.3 million approximately. It goes up and down as little amounts are spent as the video poker money comes in every month. So roughly there's $2.3 million of cash within the capital project fund.
Cash?
Cash in the bank account, yes, sir. Now, the bulk of that is restricted. There's certain state funds that we've received, $350,000 for the firehouse improvements, which was a state grant. There's a small amount of parish funds that we haven't spent yet. There's $1 million+, $1.2 million of insurance proceeds, as you mentioned, that the council restricted those to the certain departments, okay?
There's 700,000, well, so you're
There's a
saying the capital fund right now balance is north of $3 million?
bank account, the bank account is roughly 2.3, 2.4. I didn't check it today, 2.2. It's in that neighborhood. And there's $1 million in the category of what I would call unrestricted available, which is the video poker. Now, what Mr. Buddy
I
is.
didn't see that on
well,
your analysis.
So what Mr. Buddy's making reference to is out of that $1 million, $750,000 approximately is not cash. It's money that was loaned to the sewer fund for it to pay its bills. So I would say unrestricted cash, again, in round numbers, I don't have the paperwork right here in front of me, there's 250,000, 200,000 in the general fund, or in the capital project fund for unrestricted projects. But I would say, you know, that this is a council decision, no different than each of us all manage our personal finances differently. One of us might say, well, I have to have all the cash in the bank. One might say, well, I can borrow on my credit card, or I'm going to use this money and take it out of my left pocket and put it in my right pocket. In my mind, I don't see any issue with using the insurance proceeds. That's cash we have in the bank. It's ours. There's no restrictions.
Well, there are restrictions.
Other than the council.
did
Other than the council's, but that's a self-imposed.
Correct.
And I don't know that that's any different than me and my personal finances saying, I'm going to borrow some money out of my left pocket and use it from my
But we
right
did
pocket.
impose it upon ourselves. I mean, I agree
We
we
did.
could unimpose it.
We did.
But right now, the money is not there. There's, the unrestricted
Yeah.
cash
So
is
if we have
not
a
there.
building, we have
Yeah.
a building damaged partially because of the hurricane, partially because of neglect, I can't see why we can't use the insurance funds to pay for it.
It wasn't part of the insurance claim. I'm going by what.
So that's a question I have, is were there any insurance proceeds for any of the police department buildings that came in?
The mayor
Buildings,
indicated no, but I'm not sure, I don't know if the mayor was 100% correct.
buildings, not that I'm aware of, but the police does have, there's a small number, 40, 50, 60,000, that the police department has on some vehicles that were damaged over the last year. The police department could do whatever they, you know, whether
Yeah,
it goes to this project or vehicles,
Well-
that's up.
We're having separate discussions over our
Yeah.
need for multiple vehicles.
Correct.
So
Right, well, I'm going to say this, that, you know, this, like the vehicles, you know, you can't retain good people in a police department and have a terrible place to come to work. You wouldn't do it, I wouldn't do it.
Mike, I understand.
And listen,
We need
so.
to have the funding mechanism.
Well,
Now, we can.
we need to find the funding mechanism, because if you lose police officers, you're endangering the community. And to me, it's about keeping the community safe. That's the number one priority. We have millions of dollars to go to police budgets, we got millions of dollars to go to fire budgets. This is a very small thing to give these guys a decent place to come to work. It's very important for their health as well. And the other thing is, if we wind up in a situation where they're suing the city, it's going to cost a lot more than $160,000, because it's $100,000 just to entertain a lawsuit per person. So I think very diligently, you should really, really think about that. Because I think that deferring this, you're putting these guys in hazardous conditions every day that they work in that building.
So what I would say is that, what I heard is we have
Yeah, 200,000.
about $250,000 in unrestricted cash. We have another $700,000 that's self-restricted. If we borrowed that cash, that line item, that insurance proceed would not decrease. We would just borrow it, similar to what they did for the, the sewer fund back in the day, but obviously to a lesser extent. I'm comfortable with moving forward this today. I hope that everybody else can get on board as well.
There's also, if I may add, so the city does receive video poker funds every month. Last year, that amount was over $450,000 over the 12 months. And so that money comes in every month, typically. For whatever reason, we get 10 or 11 checks a year. There's always 1 or 2 months they combine or whatnot over the summer. But those checks come in regularly every month. We get 10 or 11 of them a year, and that's another $450,000 that we would expect to receive in the 2023 year.
Is it true that also on the sheet that you gave us last week of the capital fund breakdown, that we're still projecting a $3 million end fund balance at the end of the year? Is
I
that
don't-
your bottom right
I
number?
don't have it in front of me, but I believe
The
that's
bottom right
the
number?
bottom
You had
right
a
number.
So the
number
bottom right number, which would be the ending fund balance for the end of this year, was projected to be $3.2 million. So that's a projection that we will have the cash.
No,
Or we
that's
will
not-
have,
that's not cash.
That's not
we
projections.
will have the funds.
That's actuals at December 31st, which does include $750,000 due from
Gotcha.
sewer.
Okay.
That does not include pardon, Mr. Asbill, but that does not include projections of future collections.
So that's actuals.
That's actuals to date.
Okay.
So the fund balance might be 3 million at December 31st with 700,000 or 800,000 not in cash. It's a receivable due from the
Gotcha.
sewer fund.
Okay.
But that's,
But to recap what I heard you say, of that $3 million, all is committed except 250,000.
it's,
So
it's
we use
restricted
this
to
$3
its
million
use.
number.
Correct.
But nobody should be thinking we can spend that. It's already committed to another purpose. So there's $250,000. And I'm not opposed to voting for this tonight and using that. The city's then at a $70,000 cash available currently
Right.
capital fund. And by the way, I applaud the thought about a plan for the ARPA funds.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. I've been asking for something like that for some time. So, Judge, I'm willing to move, there's money there. I trust the finance director, I trust Todd. If you tell me there's $250,000 available, not committed,
You just tell us don't come back and look for anything else, right?
well, I think it's putting the city on the edge. Now, I agree with Councilman Ricks. Mike, you're 100% right. But we're
Put
committed
the
to
city on
doing
the
it.
edge without doing it.
Sir?
You put the city on the edge without doing it.
My point.
Look, I agree, we've got a lot of needs. And I think the ARPA funds are, once-in-a-lifetime shot in the arm, can correct a lot of ills of the city. And I fully applaud developing a plan, but I'm going to suggest we do it sooner because I don't know what's going to come up tomorrow that is just a pressing need as we're talking about here with the red building. And we're out of money. Now, we allocated the insurance funds to the capital fund under a theory that I didn't agree with. It's an ordinance. The city paid the insurance proceeds, the insurance premiums for that insurance policy. The city paid for the property originally. It never came out of police or fire or recreation budgets. I thought that was city money for the capital fund. That was my view, and I maintain that. So that money could be used for this.
We can change that next month.
We can.
I move for the vote on this ordinance.
Second.
All right, so all in favor? Yay.
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 Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you very much, council. And the police department, thank you very much as well.
And you got to remember, this isn't necessarily just a police department building.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
city vehicle,
it'll be a
city
shared-
building.
It'll be a shared building, so.
Like if we need it for training or conference or something,
or-
it will be
or-
used.
Or EOC. Past Councilman Johnston, we need you to come turn the AC down a little bit here.
Oh, my God.
Greg, are you on retainer?
Yo, he is the AC master.
They just didn't ask.
What will we do without you?
He said 81.
I knew it. Yeah, look at that.
Mr. Paul, that's your
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
job, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
You wanted that seat?
The oldest one up there, you know.
Madam Clerk.
Respect your elders.
Ordinances for
You're the oldest
introduction. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain, proposed ordinance number 2023-5, an ordinance amending the Harahan Code of Ordinances, Chapter 90, Article 2, Division 3, for discharge regulations relative to illegal discharge, fats, oils, and grease control devices, and waste haulers which service them. Old business number 1, Board of Adjustment dismissal and appointments.
Okay, we'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on appeals board adjustments? We'll close for public hearing. Council discussion? Now, we're looking for some
Wait.
people to sit on some boards.
No
Just-
discussion.
I'm sorry, the council discussion in general or the council
yes,
discussion on this?
On a Board of
First
Adjustment.
reading?
Board of
Board of
Adjustments,
Adjustments, thank
dismissal,
you.
and
No,
appointments.
unfortunately, I have no discussion.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Move to defer.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill to defer. We have a second by Councilman Ricks. All in favor?
For what?
We're going to defer. We don't have any Board of Adjustments appointment.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll say, all in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk?
New business number 1, Todd Turnion, Finance Director, monthly financials with budget to actual comparisons.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Just a brief update from the finance team. We continue to work on the year-end financial statement close process with the finance team. We've had several meetings with the external audit firm over the past couple weeks since we last met, and that process will kind of kick up over the next few weeks with the auditors scheduled to be here on site in the month of April. Our goal is to try to complete the audit a week or two sooner than we did last year to continue to make improvements in that process. FEMA update. We, as we mentioned at the prior meeting, we did collect a portion of the FEMA reimbursements in late December 2022, and we were able to pay all the vendors their outstanding bills. I know the city administration continues to work with the state folks, GOSEP, and the FEMA folks as well to continue to search and communicate for the city to receive the reimbursements from FEMA. So that's a regular part, something that the city touches every day. Just wanted to make the council aware that that's something that the city is continuing to work on. And then lastly, just a brief update on the sales tax side. The city received the sales tax collections today or yesterday for the prior month, and the sales tax collections were high. The fire sales tax collections continue to be higher than budgeted and higher than expected. I did reach out to the tax collector today, this afternoon, spoke to him. He's aware of the fact that the tax collections are high. As we've talked at prior meetings, there appears to continue to be confusion amongst some of the taxpayers, particularly some of the retail establishments in the Elmwood area, over who should actually collect the Harahan levied sales tax. And so until that's resolved, the higher sales tax collections that are collected by the retail establishments, remitted to the tax collector, and then ultimately remitted to the city, are the city's to keep and to use. So that's the update. I'll continue to communicate with the tax collector, and if there's any updates, keep the city and the mayor informed. But that's the update from the finance team. Happy to entertain any questions or anything I missed.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
New business number 2, approval of 2023 PhilFest 5K on April 15th, 2023.
Okay, anyone wanting to come speak on approval of the PhilFest 5K on April 15th, please come forward. Now close public hearing, council discussion.
Last month we had Phil DeGree here of Phil's Grill present his foundation and the good work they're doing, and he wants to hold his first 5K in Harahan. I believe he's working with the city, he's working with the police department on a plan, he's working with the fire department on a plan. However, he needs approval from the council in order to move forward with the levy board's approval. And so I just asked for your favorable vote tonight for approval of PhilFest, basically shutting down West Imperial for a couple hours on that evening to accommodate the race.
Imperial Woods, not West Imperial.
You're right, Imperial Woods and Riverside. You're
And
correct. I apologize.
It is, no, that's quite all right. It's an easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
It's 6 to 9 p.m.?
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I would.
wouldn't.
I would suspect it's
PM, not PM.
the whole
Yes, PM
event.
is in the
The whole event is 6 to 9 p.m. The race is probably 6 to 7.
Okay.
So the street closure is probably 5:30 to 7:30 or something.
Start
like
at
that.
St. Rita and end at St. Rita?
Correct.
Yeah, so I thought it was 6 to 9 p.m. I just wanted clarification on
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
And if you want to sign up for the race, the website is runningfordreams.com. Sign up for the race. They're looking for sponsors, all that good stuff. All the money's going to kids who've lost a parent or a loved one to cancer.
One other question. River Road, Riverside Drive, River Road will be closed, but only at that intersection,
At
correct?
Doyle. It'll be closed at Doyle. And what is it, Rayvan? Because Doyle's the last street before
So I shouldn't make any plans for the race. No, that's fine. I just want.
You should
so
come,
it's-
you should come out
it's
to the
only
Phil Fest.
closed-
You
it's
come out
only
to
should
the
run a
race.
race with
You
me.
should-
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was one.
You can start right behind the house.
I might be able to beat you.
And you may have to extend it to a midnight end of race.
Probably not.
I can't beat nobody else, I might be able to beat
So about 2 blocks, Doyle to Raven.
Doyle to Ray-Ban, yes.
That's 2 blocks of
Two solid
Riverside Drive. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, move for approval.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Asbill,
Second.
second by Councilman Buddy to move this for approval. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk?
New business number 3, appointment of clerk of court.
Okay, so our current clerk of court is Denise Lopez, and Eric's going to nominate her. Councilman Chatelain is nominating Denise Lopez to continue on as our clerk of court. Anyone want to come speak about the appointment or not, please come to the podium. No one coming forth, we'll now close it. All right, yes, she does want the job. All in favor?
Second.
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Congratulations, Denise, you're amazing.
New business number 4, appointment of regulatory director.
Okay, so we have Molly McGinnis coming on as our new regulatory director. She couldn't make it here this evening, she was ill. If anyone want to come speak forth about the regulatory director or not on the appointment, please come forward. No one coming forward. Public hearing is now closed. So we're going to nominate Molly McGinnis.
How long has Molly been here?
Molly's been here just about 3 months, 4 months maybe?
So Molly's been here 3 or 4 months. I've never met Molly before this. I think she's doing an outstanding job since
incredible.
she's been here. If we give her something, it's addressed immediately.
And she has all the proper certifications.
So,
All right, all in favor?
Yay.
But before, never mind. I was just going to second what Councilman
ahead.
Chatelain said.
ahead.
I've had the opportunity to work with her on 3 instances, and I feel like she's done a stellar job. I think the most responsive person we've had in that position, or the equal position ever. So,
she's here. She's here.
Right.
Before we had a part-time guy would come in
Yeah.
and out. He wasn't.
and she's responsive.
Yes, she is.
So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt the vote.
Nope. Got it. All in favor?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Welcome aboard, Molly. Madam Clerk?
Address the council.
Okay. Anyone like to address the council, please state your name and address at the podium.
Ted, watch this guy.
What is this?
Somebody.
I got it.
Okay.
My name's Ernie Doty. Some of you might know me from Tim's Quick Stop. My Aunt Sam owns up in River Ridge off of Rural and Jefferson Highway, right next to Bobby's Seafood and Ace Hardware. I thought I should bring up this subject, what I talked about. I want to let the police know that they're not alone. You know, if we get attacked, yeah, and they're outnumbered, we're here to reinforce. And not to commit any crimes or be too trigger happy. You know, we can just our show of presence. Like, I almost shot somebody hunting. I told them where I was going to be, where my deer stand was at, where I was going. They were drinking. It was a man and his son on an ATV, and the deer that I had in my sights, they shot. I was fixing to take the shot, and the reason why I didn't shoot, I saw the orange. You know, he had his orange vest on when he got off the ATV. And I don't care to hunt with those people anymore. But, you know, because alcohol and guns don't mix. I wanted to address this other subject, but I didn't have time to write it, you know, about reimagining police. And I think that they, you know, we have plenty of federal lands. And I think that they need, some of these cops are wound up too tight. And they get an attitude, you know, dealing with the same criminals over and over again. If they had somewhere to go, like when I worked for Marquette Gulf Inland, Marquette, they actually had Siemens Church where we went to in Texas, and they put you on a simulator. Now I messed up real bad coming around down downriver, Algiers Point. I got between the anchor chain and the ship one time, but it's not real. It didn't really happen. And then another time I hit the wharf, south of Algiers. But I did real good coming down the Atchafalaya River, making the bridges and through the narrow point where you have to make the turn to turn into the 99. You got the 20 grand on one side and you got the 99 on the other way. You get back into the intercoastal waterway. But they reach out and they people that are on towboats, they don't go, they miss church a lot. So they try to spread the gospel. I think there should be a non-denominational, multi-denominational chapel where police could go to unwind. In a place that has access to fishing, and a place that also, maybe you won't get the turkey season this year, but maybe next year, or you get the deer season. We have plenty of federal land. So I think that just come to mind that I didn't write down. I've had good experiences and bad experiences. If you read what I wrote, when we go down to the village in Yanjigo, every once in a while you hear about a girl committing suicide. Well, after what I've seen, before I left, I understand why. When I was stationed in Korea, it was a very poor country. Now their whole infrastructure is modern. It's more modern than ours. And Samsung makes their own fighter jet based off our M16 fighter, F-16. And Samsung has secrets about electronic warfare that they won't share with us. And with this president in office, I don't blame him. What I'm seeing constantly, it gives me anxiety.
All right, Mr. Doty, thank you very much. Thank you for your insight. It's greatly appreciated.
Yes, and when you said that we'll come to your house,
Yes, sir.
We need to see what's happening in New Orleans, because that's where it'll start first, and we need to be prepared.
Thank you very much.
There's more people like me.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. My name is Ken Lividay. I live at 45 Sedgefield. Yes, I'm wanting to get more information about the med spa at 194, other than they're working on it.
Sir, could you speak a little bit closer to the mic, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
I know of at least 37 or more code enforcement complaints that have been filed, but we have not gotten any kind of information about what's been done about the situation, other than there's been a meeting. But then that's not telling us, they're still having people go there 3 and 4 times a day, just about every day. And it's I don't want, an ambulance to have to go there to make us finally do something about it, because if something gets done the wrong way or by accident, or somebody gets an overdose or whatever they're doing in there, we don't really know.
What would an ambulance be going there for?
In case somebody gets an overdose.
Somebody gets any kind of a wrong injection that's being put into their bodies. And yes, it's on the internet saying that's what she does. So you can't say that she's not doing it or they're not doing it, because she says that apparently she says that they have professionals doing the work. So apparently it's not just the one person. So, but as far as the code enforcement, how do we get a response from those complaints that have been put into the office?
Mr. Lavade, I responded to you on Facebook and told you that there's a process. There is a process. It's working through the process. Part of that process on a complaint is not notifying the complainant. Unfortunately, the complainant, or fortunately, the complainant has to follow up with regulatory court, get the dates for the regulatory court, and just show up and see if it's on the docket for that day. So there's regulatory court held once a month on Thursdays. I think it was today. I think there was one today. I don't know if it was on that docket or not, but you'll have to check with the regulatory court docket. But there is a process. It's working through the process. To suggest that the process is not being followed when you don't know the process, I think is a little absurd.
No, we're not saying that it's not being done. We're just asking for some kind of response other than, we're working on it. I mean, or something's been done and changes are are being done. Yet every day we see that there are no changes. They're still having people go into the house all hours of the day, weekends, and they're saying that things are going to be, going to change, but nothing's really being changed.
I never said things are going to change. What I would tell you is the legal team's looking into it, code enforcement and the legal team. I'm not going to get up here and make some comments that's going to
Yeah.
subject me into a lawsuit
No,
or
I
something that I
understand.
misinterpreted from the legal
We're just
team.
asking for an update other than something's being done.
I don't have an update to give you right now, but I could tell you there's attorneys looking at it, there's city planners looking at it, there's regulatory looking at it, and we also have
There's police looking at it.
police looking at it. I mean, they made police complaints, people harassing, harassments. So it's going both ways, and the legal team's looking at it, and I'm not going to get up here and say something that's going to neglect, object me into the
Understand.
lawsuit as well.
Okay, and I
That's
just
just
have,
where I stand right now.
I have two other things just to ask. I don't know who we need to talk to.
There is 44 home businesses in Harahan.
Home businesses, people that live in their home. There's no one living there.
Registered as a home
Could be,
businesses.
right, but they're living in their home where they have their home business. There's no one living at that house.
That's
And-
the legal team's looking into. I can't answer that.
Okay. On the corner of Hickory and St. Cyr, the drain is popping up as you walk by, as you drive over it, just so I can let somebody know if they can look into
We'll
that.
get on that right away. That's-
The other thing is Robert Street is a one-way going from Hickory to Dickory, and all of the signage is still there saying do not enter on Dickory, but there are 18-wheelers and FedEx trucks coming the opposite way. Is there any way they could put some cones or something back up there like they used to have?
You mean Roddy Street, right? R-O-D-Y? is it?
No,
No, Roberts.
one way.
By,
One-way,
Ninth Street.
Okay, yeah.
near Dewar Construction, correct?
Got it, yes.
Yes.
yeah,
yes,
not
yeah.
not far from there.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've talked to that, I've talked to Councilman Chatelain about that. I noticed when they picked up the cones that people started turning there.
Right.
I actually would like to consider if we wanted to turn that back into a two-way to get in and out.
That's problems.
But yet, it's something we can consider, whether it's
I
a
don't even know if
two-way.
it's
That's a
wide
problem.
enough.
We
Is
had
it
that
wide
two-way a
enough?
long time ago. It creates too much. We had a lot of accidents in that corner because when they had two coming out
Just
both
wanna
ways,
consider it.
a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
accidents.
consider it.
And I had one. I was in one of them.
All right, I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention.
Thank you, thank you, Ken.
I will add that stop sign there, when you're coming across and you have no stop sign,
Oh, yeah.
that has been a very big issue for accidents where the oncoming traffic
Yes.
coming at a high rate of speed down Dickory has not stopped at that stop sign. So we need to do something for public safety at that intersection, no matter what, at least in that regard, for sure.
Agreed.
So
Assistant
Hickory
Chief.
is a parish or state road? I'm not sure. Do we know if Hickory, Dickory, I'm sorry.
Dickory is state.
Dickory Estate.
Dickory
Yes,
is
sir.
state, and Robert is a city.
Correct.
Correct.
Right.
So I guess to improve stop signs, light, whatever, we'd have to work with the parish.
So Hickory's Parish, Roberts, Harahan,
And Dickory State.
Dickory State.
No, but if we put a sign on, if we put a stop sign on Robert going on to Dickory, I think we
Make
could
it
do that.
Make it a four-way.
Make it a
basically
four-way.
two-way stop.
Yeah, two-way.
Oh,
stop.
two-way.
Oh, that traffic.
No, you
That's
got
gonna
to.
be-
Yeah, I wouldn't,
That's
I
gonna be
wouldn't,
traffic
I
sensitive.
wouldn't suggest doing that. but-
Right, I agree with
Like
you.
by Gordon, by the Harahan Grill, they got to flow through. You don't want to put a stop.
I wasn't suggesting doing it, that's just what the question was.
Yeah, I've traveled some streets in Prairieville where they used
We put a
stop
roundabout,
signs
maybe we put a
lined
roundabout.
by
We could just-
red
Flashers,
blinking
yeah.
lights, flashing lights.
Maybe we
And
get the state to put a roundabout in right there.
well, I
huh?
tried to, no, I don't think that's not gonna happen, because when they put it through,
I think we
Yeah.
could talk to the parish about improving the.
I don't know when.
The stop sign.
it's not the parish, it's the DOTD.
Yeah, DOTD.
So I've already made that call. to the DOTD to see if I can get some results.
Great, thank you, Mike.
We both put stop signs in yield signs all the time, make the fucking
Okay? No one, you want to come, are you coming up?
the water mayor don't do it.
Yeah. Well, me neither, I don't know why either.
I guess I'll say a few words. Good evening, Maurizio Francesca on 239 West Avenue or 181 McHugh. I guess I was thinking about this, addressing the Sedgefield property. Again, I'm chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board. If you ever want to reach out to me, 504-460-7578 is my cell phone number. Because I've got a lot of phone calls, but I just, about the property there, here's the thing. As your chairman, my job is to basically work for the mayor. We go ahead and we vent, we air, we have a meeting here to go ahead and talk about planning and zoning, and that property had come up for planning and zoning. It was withdrawn. I wish it would have gone through because I had a lot of questions, people had a lot of questions, but everyone who owns property in Harahan has the right to ask for rezoning. Doesn't mean it's going to get passed, doesn't mean it's not going to get passed. But the point of the matter is, we are the arm where the public has the say of what they want to happen at that property. We create a recommendation for or against, it then goes to the council. Council then will be the final decision. So I don't want people to be afraid to not reach out to myself, the other 9 board members. We volunteer. I do this on the side around my work schedule. One of the things that I do is when there's something coming up for planning and zoning, the ladies who work here, the gentlemen who work here, send me all the information, make sure all the proper notifications were sent out. They send me all that information, verify everything, verify all the paperwork is done. And so when I come to the meeting, I have all my ducks in a row. So then that way we can address what's going on with the property, open to the public. So I just want to let you know there is a process, just like Jason has talked about, there's a process. There's a process by doing things. So if we just let the process flow how it needs to, maybe we could have resolved this issue, back in October, November, when all this was kind of going on. But, so again, reach out to me if you have any questions. Y'all know where to reach me. Cell phone, you can, Carrie or I think Molly or somebody asked if something, give out my email. I have no problem with people having my email or my phone number. All of these guys have my way of contacting me. So if any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. If I know the answer, I will definitely find out the answer. So just want to let y'all know. I'm here to work for y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Howard?
Hey, my name's Catherine Plunkett at 134 Sedgefield Street. What my problem is how was we supposed to know the process? I never heard that they wanted to even change that house to a commercial. Someone that lives in River Ridge, through the phone or something like that, they said, "Oh, did you hear?" And then they showed me. That's the first time I even heard it was going on. So all this might have been done, and I didn't even know. I thought, with me living in that block, I should have got a letter from y'all saying that house wants to rezone. We're having a meeting such and such. Please come. Nothing. And you see how many people, we don't have anybody representing us now because nobody knows about it. We just going by word of mouth, people calling, And I don't think that's fair because the majority live on that street that we weren't notified, sent out some kind of letter when they had that meeting. Why weren't we told? I'm just saying, if you want us to participate and if we want to vote on what we want, you got to let us know what to do. Give us some kind of lessons on what we have to do the process so we won't lose our neighborhood. That's all I'm asking.
Who had a meeting?
There was no meeting.
I thought he said they got together in October to see about
So let me, y'all mind if I run through
Go ahead.
the timeline?
Because I have a comment, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Back in October, the property filed for a rezoning. There was public outcry everywhere. They withdrew that, so there was never a meeting. You should have, if that process would have went through like it was supposed to, you would have received, being so close, a notification that this property has filed for rezoning with a meeting date for the Planning and Zoning Board.
Right.
That never happened, so you didn't get that notification.
Councilman Asbill, I'm not sure notices went out because,
You're right, they didn't go out because they
no,
didn't
the
have
meeting
time.
was scheduled, it was withdrawn the day before the meeting. And I don't know where the notices were sent, but if she didn't receive one, and I think the rule is within 300 feet, you get a letter.
We're
Doesn't
in
go
it.
to- Doesn't go to everybody on the block necessarily, that's a large block you live in.
Well, I'm on the same block.
But the notices should have gone out because it was withdrawn the day before the meeting, so.
Okay, then if the notices didn't go out, then it's a postal service issue, because that's a thing as well.
Everybody in the block?
Can I ask something?
So let me tell you what I would do. If you're mistrusting of the council or the administration, what I would do is file a public request and go ask for the postal notices. If they went out, they went out. If they didn't, then we've got to figure out what happened there. But I'm telling you that from what I understand, the process started, the process stopped, and now they're starting the process on zoning complaint, or on property complaints.
So when they file again, we should get a notice in the mail.
If you're within the specified range, yes,
If
ma'am.
they're going to change the zoning.
Yeah, and they may not.
So is there another way without changing the zoning that they could work there? Have a work there,
I
business?
think they're doing that right now.
Home business.
But they're not,
Okay, so it's like, we can't do anything.
If they come in and change the zoning to commercial,
Okay,
they shut the business down a month from now. They could tear it down, put whatever they want in C1 commercial, if they got the commercial approved. A home business, they can't come back and put whatever they want. They need to come in and ask for permission to put whatever they want. They can't put a grocery store there. It's not allowed.
but I don't understand why they need a business there anyway when we have property to run businesses.
I don't own the building. I don't own the business. We have code enforcement that's looking into it. We have a legal team looking into it. I'm under the impression that it's okay. That's the impression I'm under right now. Legal team, code enforcement, regulatory directors are looking into it. I can't speak no more on it.
Okay, I'll just wait for my notice and maybe check to find out where the other notices
Ms.
were.
Plunkett, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
And I'd like to pretty much address everybody. So, you know, I'm a new council member, and I have a great idea about email. So, because the Federal Postal Service has been a complete disaster, would you be inclined to sign up for a city email list?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And would everybody in this room pretty much be inclined to sign up for that list? I'm just curious to know,
Yeah.
because I think it's important.
It'll be in a
Well, especially for big, not about having a race, no, we're not talking about, we're talking, this is going to affect all our homes. And I've been there a long time, and I'm even so frustrated that y'all can go, I bought it when it was residential, and that you can, one person in the block wants to make a commercial, we're going to have to vote about it and everything. I feel like, well, I want to put my house for sale, because I don't know, they can do whatever they want, you
It's
know?
still residential. Don't let anyone tell you it's been changed to commercial, because that's not true.
But then they got around of it by making it a business, and they don't live there. I check
How
at
many
night,
other
no
businesses
light.
they have on Sedgefield? How many other home businesses they have on Sedgefield?
I don't know of any.
More than
I
one.
don't know. I would be here complaining about them if I knew it.
I'll
I
tell you
don't
that
know.
there's at least one, he's in the room tonight.
Is there? Okay, I don't know it. But
Ma'am, there is an existing ordinance, it's been on the books for many years, I don't know how many, but a long time, probably decades. And it allows for a home business under certain conditions. And I assume that the process right now is determining if that residential address qualifies under existing ordinances, nothing new. I'm making that assumption, I believe that's the case. So I'm going to say to you that under certain circumstances, everyone that lives in Harahan can have a home office. There are requirements that you have to meet in order to classify as a home office. And that, I think, is the question at hand. If that residence qualifies under an existing ordinance, they can't be denied. And as I think it was Councilman Chatelain said, there are 44, I believe,
Yes.
existing permitted home office businesses in Harahan.
I have one.
Well, I
have
had,
an office in Elmwood where all my stuff's kept and all of this stuff.
I had two.
But you have people coming into your house, or you just,
I'm registered here at my house. All my mail comes to my house. I pay Harahan taxes. I pay Harahan occupational license. I don't have to do that. I can leave my stuff in Elmwood and save $1,200 a year.
but you have people coming to your house? I thought it had to be, well, I'd like to see where could I get, what are the restrictions for having? And-
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to
Thank
say,
you.
it's
All right,
very-
if I can-
It's available.
Oh, okay.
It's on the website.
Okay.
I have a copy. I'll be happy to give it to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, then I can check, and if they're not following the rules, that's one way we can get it corrected.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I would love it.
Who does it? I did say that house, Paul. I didn't say it.
Her name is Catherine Plunk.
Yeah. They qualify.
Yeah.
I said, yes. I don't think they qualify.
Michelle Thompson, 185 McHugh. I'm an esthetician, and you're telling me this is coming off of the website here, and it's under the definition of home occupations. It lists what can be in a home, and it lists what cannot be in a home. Okay, I'm not saying I agree with what's in here, but this is what we have to follow so far until anything is written, what's in here. As a licensed esthetician, I cannot perform in my home according to this. It's written here, and I have copies for all of y'all. I am just a little upset because none of y'all even know this, that people are restricted from up, and it says, the following shall not be interpreted to be home occupations. Barbershops, which I agree with all of this. Beauty parlors, I'm an esthetician, I don't do hair or anything, I do facials, microdermabrasion, and so forth. But I fall under that category, so I cannot perform it in my house, and you know what, I'm okay with that. I think that is a good regulation to protect the community. But I'm not gonna list all of them, but one of them is no offices of physicians or dentists or business of any kind, okay? So I just want to make, and this is just so everybody can understand, and I have nothing against what she does. I have nothing against this lady. I have a problem with the city saying what we have to do, and then another thing is done. That is my issue, okay? And y'all represent me. And I am very upset that I have to come up here and say this, okay? And I'm not saying I'm against her. I did sign it because, according to this, she should not be allowed in that. I can't do it, okay? So I just want to express why she's medical in a doctor's office, because I know you're men and y'all are ignorant to how things work in the aesthetic world, okay? I'm educating y'all, so please just bear with me, and I'm going to keep it
I'm
very
ignorant.
simple.
I'm not listening to you
Okay? I'm going to supply you with this information. She is a nurse practitioner, and that is a wonderful thing. I have nothing against that. But on the second thing, she is performing a medical procedure that is designed by a company, which is a group. It is a group of doctors that actually design these procedures, and what they do, they go get medical people to perform that inside other locations. It actually says on her website that it's their company at their location, and she performs it. She's a medical provider, and that is a fact. And if you look at, she's a med spa, and you take the actual definition of a med spa is actually a combination of a spa and medical, non-surgical, performed by a practitioner under the supervision of a doctor. So she's not a med spa, okay? If she's not, then she's got to be aesthetic, which is going to be me. The other thing is she does IV. IV, and you can you can Google it yourself. IV therapy is a medical procedure. You're actually injecting. It's not a bad thing. It's just that it's a medical procedure.
Well, can I?
So if a doctor in Metairie is open in Metairie, not in Harahan, but wants to put a satellite here, and a practitioner is working for him, it is his office. And this group of doctors have hired her to perform their procedures, and that is what she's doing. So that is an office of a doctor, and that is medical. What you're telling me is the people that can actually have a home.
Can I interrupt
Sure.
you for one moment? So, obviously, Councilman Chatelain's upset about your comment, and I understand it was in jest.
I didn't mean it in a
I know,
negative
I understand it was
way.
in jest, believe me, I understand.
Negative, ma'am, though.
That's okay, that's okay.
That was
I just will say
Oh,
this,
come
I've read the rules and regulations time and time again, because it's been brought to my attention since I took office here multiple times. I understand that, and just like the mayor said, and Councilman Asbill has said in the same process, that, you know, not only do we have legal obligations, we can't just act. And so understand that our attorneys have to do what they have to do in a legal proceeding, and nothing is fast to government, which I hate, but it is what it is. And the same thing on their behalf, they also have an attorney. So, you know, I don't know how much you know about legal, but, you know, it takes a process. It's a timely thing. It's not something that we can just run in, barge the door down and say, get out.
But you're saying
And I'll-
that any homeowner has the right to have a home business, and that is not true according
So-
to what
No,
we
we're not
have
saying
in
that.
They
So let me
meet-
tell you, what.
If they meet the
Since
requirements.
since we're talking about our opinions, to be honest with you, I've got an opinion on this matter, but it's not for me to share because I'm a legislator. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not code enforcement. I'm not the administration. My opinion is that you can't operate a home occupation in Harahan whatsoever, no matter what it is. But that's not for me to decide. That's for the lawyers and the city attorney and the regulatory officer to decide. I think no matter what your home occupation is, you can't operate it in Harahan. Even if it is just a mail drop, it's illegal.
But when
So-
you're listing
but-
what
but-
can be, and then what can't be, and I can't be, how can someone operate when they haven't been approved, is what I'm saying. Shouldn't it
They-
not be operating until this can be
And-
resolved, is what I'm asking.
What
Okay?
I'm saying is the complaints have been made. I've made a complaint myself. I know the complaints have been made, and it's going through the process. As a legislator, I'm not going to hurry the process. I want the process to go like how they think it's supposed to go, so that when the process does reach the final stage, it holds up. That's the process. I think for the process to be valid, it's got to go through the exact process, how it's lined up, and how the legal team says it needs to go, so that if they do shut this business down, it holds up, or if they don't shut it down, it holds up either way.
So I could just start operating out of my house and until y'all come to the conclusion that I can be shut down. I'm asking you. It says that I can't do it. So if she's a medical provider, which she is.
Ma'am, that's
she
a question
is.
of fact right now. What you just said is your opinion of fact, and you may be 100% correct. And what Councilman Asbill has just told you, facts are determined by a process. None of us can
Okay.
determine a fact. This issue is not resolved.
Okay, so I can't go by this.
You can go by that.
can.
But
Which is on the website.
you can't make a decision as to what that means. You can form an opinion. You're not a judge, and this may go to court. And that's why we have judges and we have a process. So please just accept that you're expressing your opinion. You may be 100% correct. But it's going through a process, and a decision's going to be made, and it may not be made by anybody in this room at the end of the process.
So what I'm going to ask, a question in the legal process, is if she's allowed to do that as a medical provider, at that point, will it be looked at that other people that are doing services will be lifted as well?
If they changed the law, that is very possible,
if
but
she's
it would require a law to be changed
If
in the
she's
city of Harahan.
determined through a process to be a medical provider, and your interpretation, and I haven't read it yet, I know you spoke with me and you sent me a
I
copy
have
yesterday.
copies of everything. She is a medical provider.
Well, if your facts are correct and your interpretation is correct, and it may be, then the business probably isn't allowed. I think what you've heard, though, is that we're not judges up here. There's a question of fact going on right now, and there's been no decision. There's been complaints. The complaints are being considered. Your information is adding insight, and that ordinance is going to control. Interpretation of that ordinance is going to control. It's an existing ordinance. So just, the point is, no decision's been made. There's a business operating in a residence, that's a fact. Is it operating within the scope, legally within the scope of that ordinance?
I accept that, but I didn't accept the comment that was made that any homeowner can have a home business, because that isn't
Any
true.
homeowner can have a home business in compliance with existing ordinance, if they comply with existing ordinance. Now, any homeowner can do what they want in their home and maybe operate a business illegally until it's brought to the attention of regulatory, and then regulatory has to do their job and make a determination. So people may be operating businesses without permits of any kind. I suspect some people are. But
And the fact that 44 businesses are taking place, I have no problem with it if they fit in that
they
criteria.
comply.
I have no problem with it. And I have no problem that I am not allowed to do it, because I think it's a good thing to control for the actual, R1, A1, district. I think that's a good thing. But I just don't like that other people can come in and just do things. And it's, like you say, a lawyer can be in there. Well, there's a big difference between a lawyer's office and an esthetician or a medical provider, because you have patients. So there is a distinction there.
So ma'am, I'm going to repeat it one more time.
I'd offer to you that a lawyer's business may be more, depending on the type of lawyer, may be more damaging than a med spa, where you have a higher clientele coming in, whereas if I'm a criminal defense attorney, I have a different aspect coming into the community, and constant traffic. So, I mean, look, again, I don't think we need to keep going on and on.
No.
I would say that this is the legislative branch, that's the executive branch. I think at the end of the day, the judiciary branch of this city or this parish is going to decide this issue, and, if it, however it turns out, the city, then the legislative branch, city council, then has to determine how it came out, what was the outcome, and what changes do we want to make legislative to either make it not happen again,
Right.
or to accept it.
Right. And I don't think the question is, I'm not judging her or the business or her qualifications. It's just that if there are rules, we all need to follow them. That is what my issue is, okay? And I do agree. I just think we're kind of in the dark here, and I think that's what kind of upsets everybody. We want to protect our residents, and I just would hope that we could get some more defined definitions of home occupations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I didn't mean it as an insult.
I know, I
But it was
understand.
taken, so.
Okay, so we'll close address to council. Madam Clerk, Secretary's report.
Secretary's report for January 2023, total revenues, $1,132,899.07. Reports.
Okay. You? Assistant Police Chief.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, I want to thank the council for helping us to help you. Because with the red building, we're going to conduct training, not just for us, city employees, other law enforcement agencies, and not just police issues. It's going to be DOC related. Unfortunately, we're stuck right here. We have the river here. We're not that far from the lake. And it seems like now, except last year, we have some kind of tragic event, Mother Nature knocking on our door. So I just want to really thank you guys for working so hard, especially, man, Eric, well, first of all, Tim Baudier is the little rabbit energizer, right? And then here comes Tim. Here comes Mike Ricks. Here comes Eric Chatelain. Now it's a three-way race. These guys don't stop. I'm scared to talk to them sometimes because I might mention something in conversation, And all of a sudden, "Brrr, man, you over there? We're coming to see you." Oh, hold on, man. We just talked about this in jest, you know? But I just can't tell you how much the chief, Ed LaPree, was really trying to make this happen. And he comes from the government, the private sector, as well as law enforcement. And it's killing them, the way things move. Government moves so slow. And I'm like, Chief, you just got to sit back a little bit, you know? We have meetings once a month, and, you know, in between, we can talk a little bit, but he's catching on. He's catching on. The calls of service for January was 442. Accidents were 9. Citations issued were 39. The charges were 74. Patrol requests was 9. Drug arrests was 10. Number of drug charges were 18. We had 9 felony drug arrests, 4 misdemeanor, 5 city. Miscellaneous arrests, we had 35. 78 charges, 7 felony, 39 misdemeanor, 10 city, and 22 traffic. We had no murders, no rapes. Unfortunately, we had a lot of vehicles being broke into. And I'm trying to think of the words to say this, because I don't want to make it sound like Big Brother. But if you have a ring camera that faces the street as well as your front door, we're trying to come up with a way to where we can communicate with y'all, to where we could have access to the ring camera through you guys, not us go to your house and take it. Because fortunately, well, one of the vehicles that got broken into, they had a ring camera across the street. We saw the car, we saw the people, everything was wonderful. Turns out the vehicle was stolen. So it was kind of a dead-end street when it came to that. But the ring camera, well, I could point the guy out right now. He was sitting there. I mean, it was that good of a camera. And I know there's a fine line between Big Brother trying to go into your camera system, but if you have a camera and y'all want to reach out to us, with your permission, whatever you give us access to, we're not looking to get into your camera system. But that's my balance right there. I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful, did a wonderful job. Wonderful job. All right, Councilman Asbill.
Happy Mardi Gras. Thank you.
Councilman Buddy.
Happy Mardi Gras. Thanks, folks, for coming out. We do appreciate hearing from the public that we're here to serve, and I thank you for coming out.
Councilman Chatelain.
Guys, I'm gonna let y'all know why I walked out. Somebody's gonna come up here and insult us. Could have been a joke. Could have been a joke. If I made that joke and called you a jackass, everybody out there would call me, you know, it'd be the talk of the city. So that's why I walked out.
I just mean, men don't know about aesthetics.
I understand.
When I say, you just have to.
I get lips done, eyes done.
Okay.
Just don't show. I'm really worse than I look.
Needs more work.
I listened to everything. I listened to everything you said in that hall right there. I promise you.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with some things you said,
Okay,
but I'm not going to sit up here and have somebody talk to me like that.
I did not mean it.
All right, let him.
All right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Wish everybody happy Mardi Gras.
As a community, we all should work together.
Yes.
Okay?
Agree.
And that's it.
I listened to everything you said. I promise.
I appreciate it.
And have a good night.
Councilman Johnston.
Happy Mardi Gras.
Councilman Riggs.
I would like to say, Maurizio, thank you for coming up here and speaking tonight. I've worked with Maurizio on the Planning and Zoning Board, and I appreciate everything he's done as the chair then and what you're doing now. Thank you very much. Also, Joe, I would like to say I commend you on doing a great job, you and Ed both. I know y'all are working very hard to get the police department back up and running, and that's why we're working so hard to help you, to make sure that goes well.
That's exactly right.
So I would also like to thank all the councilmen and the residents for showing up tonight. I do appreciate all your commentary on Sedgefield. I just hope you do understand that it is a process. We're not trying to ignore you. We're not trying to avoid the questions. It is a process. Unfortunately, like I said multiple times, nothing in government goes quick. And nobody hates that more than me. So But happy Mardi Gras. Enjoy the week. God bless everybody. Have a great night.
All right, real quick, I just want to, remember someone, Tony Perella. He was a relative of mine. He was my dearest friend. We were very close, even though he was batshit crazy, but he was my guy. And it's 1 year today, 1 year yesterday, I believe.
Yesterday.
That he passed away, and I just hope we all remember him in our thoughts, and let's not forget him, because he did a lot for this city. He helped me a lot. He did a lot for these residents, and the truth is, I want him to never be forgotten. He was a good guy, and he loved his city, and I wish he was still here. I miss him very much, and I'm a little mad at him for leaving us, but he's probably laughing at us all right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
You got it. And I'd also like to say happy birthday to Councilman Chatelain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Is it 36?
29, I thought.
Yeah.
I look 36, and all them shots I make getting done.
And then I just want to wish everybody a very happy and safe Mardi Gras. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
Pay bills. Bills paid in January 2023, total expenditures, $1,247,165.47. No executive session. Adjourn.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Ricks to adjourn. All in favor?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are adjourned.
Thank you.